How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set 6, and today we've got something a little bit different for you. Recently, I have been playing Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, and a massive thank you to Atlas and Guillotine Games for hooking me up with a copy of the game. But during my time with the game, there are a few things that I kind of wish I'd clocked onto a little bit earlier. So, in typical YouTuber style, today I'm dropping my 10 feels about right. 10 tips to get the best start and have the best experience with Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for future content, do all of the things, but let's just jump into it. Now the first tip is to explore everywhere, and that sounds like a bit of a given, you know, it's an RPG, of course we're going to explore everywhere, but trust me, make sure you're going over all the nooks and crannies in the area, because there are a lot of things to find. Whether it's the orbs that you find on the ground that give you HP, MP and overdrive, or the vending machines that can give you some vital items that you'll need to sell in order to make sure you've got plenty of money, there are a lot of things that you can find just hidden around the corner, in places that you might not expect there to be an item or anything like that, so make sure that you are exploring the whole map. Doesn't take long, you're nice and speedy, you can run around, it's fine. In combat, you want to exploit weaknesses, because by exploiting weaknesses, you gain yourself an extra turn, basically. Meaning that rather than having 4 actions in a turn, you can have 8 actions in a turn. That's not the only thing you need to watch for, because if you hit an enemy's resistance, then you will lose an action for the turn, or possibly even more if they straight out block or evade or anything like that. So you need to keep an eye on your resistances, make sure that you are targeting the right resistances, make sure that you've got a spread of characters so that you can target many resistances. Don't find yourself stuck with multiple fire demons and then nothing to cover ice. Having a nice degree of diversity in your team will help. In Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, the way enemies work is you'll find them on the world map and then you run over, interact with them, attack them and you'll enter combat. One thing that you can do is group enemies together. So say if there's 3 different enemies in an area, try and bunch them up with each other and attack one of them, and if you're lucky, you will get a chained encounter. Now this makes things a little bit tougher, but at the same time, it massively increases the amount of XP and Maka that you get out of combat, and Maka is the in-game currency. So if you're grinding levels for your demons, or if you're just trying to gather a large amount of money, making sure that you chain encounters together is massively beneficial. There are a few locations where that's easier than others, where the enemies pretty much already stand in a line, as you'll see on screen now, so try to find those locations and maximise the grinding that you do. Now when you're going around the world map, you can have a companion follow you around, and that companion will quite annoyingly keep pointing things out to you on the ground that you can find. Some of the times it's an encounter, but most of the times it's an item, and I'll be honest, very useful items. So while it may be slightly annoying to constantly have a demon following you around going, ooh over there, ooh over there, ooh over there, trust me, it's worth it. Not only can you find items and encounters, but you can also find Magatsui rails, which are kind of like a fast travel around the area. And they're normally either leading you back to a waypoint so you can quickly get around, or they give you access to an area that you may not have had access to previously. So again, make sure you listen to whichever companion you've got with you, because they are trying to help. Over the course of the game, you will find some demons that have got unique skills. Some of them come from the special fusion demons that you can get, but some of them just come from normal demons that you can fuse. 2 of the big standouts for me are Hasotobe, I've butchered that, but yeah, Hasutobe is an attack from Yoshitsune that hits all enemies and hits 8 times, all for crit. So I think you can see where I'm going with this. If you take that moderately low level character and level it up all the way with the party, Hasotobe becomes a massive attack that you can use. Another example of this is Alice, who has the ability Die for Me, which is 2 to 5 medium dark attacks to random foes, with a chance of insta-killing when striking the enemy's weakness. I'm pretty sure you can see where I'm going with this. Level Alice up, and she is a beast. And one final example of this is Idun and her Golden Apple ability, which is a moderate level heal to all allies, which is nice, but it raises all stats of your active party by 1 rank for 3 turns. And again, that can be a super clutch ability that you can bring in. Some of these characters do get replaced by some of the stronger demons that you can use later on in the game, but I would definitely say that they remain at least viable. So keep an eye on what you've got, if you had to pick just one Yoshitsune, trust me. Make sure that you stock up on spyglasses. Now later on in the game there is an item that gives you unlimited spyglasses and never disappears when you use it, but in the early stages of the game you'll want to purchase them because when you find these guys, Mitama, the only 2 ways that you can deal with them are A, have a very strong attack that pierces, and that way you don't have to worry about the resistance, because Mitama are resistant to everything except one type of attack. And it's random, so good luck. However, if you've got spyglasses, you can use a spyglass and find out what that weakness is. And then with your next character, use a shard or gem or an ability that matches that weakness. Boom, Mitama down. And you get good amounts of either XP, Maka, you can get various things from them, but they are always worth killing. So make sure that you've got plenty of spyglasses, or, like I say, a very strong piercing attack. On the world map, you'll find these things called abscesses, and abscesses are a big encounter where you'll fight a few smaller demons and then a boss at the centre of the abscess. Now the reason that you want to do this is because when you defeat one of these abscesses, it unlocks miracles, and miracles are something that you can use to boost your abilities, your demon's abilities, give you more functionality in the world. There's loads of things that you can learn in the miracles section. However, in order to unlock them, you have to defeat the abscesses. So keep an eye out for abscesses and make sure you beat them. Now in an RPG, I'm sure a lot of you do this anyway, naturally, but there is the urge to hoard things until later in the game, just so that you've got them when you need them. 9 out of 10 times you end up with an inventory full of items that you could have used all the way through the game, but you never got a chance to. In Shin Megami Tensei V, that's less of an issue, because there are a lot of things that you actively want to save until later on in the game. Now the obvious examples of this are things like items that level up a demon, items that level up your character, because you want to save them until you're in the higher levels so that you get more of a payoff for them. There's no point using one of those items at level 10, because the amount of XP that you need to level up is minimal. There is much more point using one of those items at level 90, because the amount of XP that you need is much higher. But that's not all you want to save. When you're travelling around the areas in the world, you will find big statues that have got like a little demon icon on them on the map. And when you go near them, it's just a big statue that seems to have a bit of a glowing essence to it. Save these until later on in the game, because when you interact with one of these statues, it will give 1 level to every single demon in your party. Not just your active party, the whole party. Now the Nahabino doesn't gain anything from this, but there are 18 of these statues scattered around the world, meaning 18 levels for your final party if you save them till the end. Couple that with items as well, and you could easily take a party from level 70 to level 90 with little difficulty. Essences in Shin Megami Tensei V are essential to keep an eye on, because they will allow you to do several things. The first thing is they will allow you to move abilities onto demons that may not have those abilities, which is extremely useful for covering up any gaps that you may have in your party, especially later on in the game when you've locked in the party that you're going to go with. You can cover any weaknesses that these characters may have by using essences. But on top of that, you can use essences to change the Nahabino's weaknesses and resistances if you've used Glory to buy the Miracle, like I spoke about earlier. What this does is it lets you take on the resistances and weaknesses of an enemy, replacing your own weaknesses and resistances with theirs. And some things have got a lot of very good resistances. And it's definitely beneficial, say you've got a boss fight against something that hammers out Bufu, ice magic, constantly. Maybe it's worth your time using an essence to switch to ice resistance and make sure that you are protected in the fight. Because, as with a lot of these games, if the main character goes down, you are done. So protecting your main character should be the most important thing. So make sure that you are resistant to whatever the game throws at you. And finally, the last thing that I'm going to say is make sure that you find as many of these little guys as you possibly can dotted around the world. These things are called Memons, and there's an extremely weird and not creepy character called Gustav who wants you to collect the Memons. And for every 5 Memons that you find, he will give you some sort of reward, and that reward increases in value the more Memons that you find. Also, for every Memon that you find, you'll get a varying amount of glory. So in the first area, you'll get 5 glory per Memon, then 6, then 7, etc, etc. So make sure that you're finding these little guys, purely because we don't want to leave them alone. It's a dangerous place. Dangerous place. Anyway, that's my 10 tips for Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance. Let me know in the comments if you've got any other tips that you'd pass on to people, just in case. You know, maybe there's something that I've missed. Make sure it's in the comments below. Have you played Shin Megami Tensei V or Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance? I've thoroughly enjoyed the game, and again, a massive thank you to Atlas and Guillotine Games for hooking us up with a copy of Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance. I had a great time with it. We put a stupid amount of time into it on stream. Great fun. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe for future content, but more importantly than all of that, have a great day.